trust is to learn how to be separate together. We are separate beings, and there's a lot of separate pieces out there, but there's also a oneness. I've been working with horses since I was a child. I won my first pony, actually, at a fair. I rescued a horse out of a stall. A pitchfork slid down and went through the horse's leg, and I pulled the pitchfork out when I was 12. And I didn't know it at the time, but there was a woman watching, and she gave me the sportsmanship trophy and found out I didn't have my own pony. I was showing ponies for my uncle at the time, and since I didn't have my own pony, she opted to give me one.
I think some of my favorite memories were times that it was just me and my horse. There were times that I rode back into the Bob Marshall Wilderness. It's kind of different when you do that, because when you get miles back into the backcountry, I think you and the horse both realize that you're really reliant on each other.
I met Jeff in Seeley Lake, Montana. I think he got my attention because he had a horse in the back of his truck.
I really got to know her as a waitress in the local cafe. It's kind of funny because she'll always say, you know, she wasn't sure she liked me, but she was always there where I was at. And during the summertime, she seemed to pay attention to me and know what I ate and always have it kind of prepared when I got there.
I always tell it this way, it's not exactly true, but we met on Halloween, and that I didn't like him until Thanksgiving, that I got pregnant on Christmas Eve, and we got married on Valentine's Day, so that sort of sums it up. It will be 43 years ago this Valentine's Day. Jeff is my really entire life, and I don't mean that in a way that he takes my life away. We've worked together, we raise a family together, and it's not always been easy, but we're really committed to our relationship.
I spent 37 years as a private investigator, and for a good part of that time, Darlene made the office run. I had a young girl one time who had quit talking. She was, I think, 7 years old, and she had just quit talking. I had her mom bring her out to the farm here, and I put her on a horse, and we just did a pony ride, and just being on that horse and not having any pressure, but just being there and feeling comfortable with talking to the horse broke the case and solved all the problems. So the Herd to Human program was first a program to teach other people how to train their horses. I guess in the back of my mind, I was teaching these training clinics with the philosophies and the methods that I had learned in using horses to help other people in my private investigation practice. One of the most meaningful things in my relationships with my horses was with Sam. Sam is the one that really taught me about communication. Sam was really my encouragement and turned the light switch on for me and said, hey, you can do better. I started communicating with him the way I saw him communicate with the horses in the pasture. I can remember Sam stopping and looking at me like, you finally get this. He began to realize that I was listening to him, and there was a communication that happened at that point that I'd never had with a horse before. That was the beginning of what I do now, is I realized that we communicate with our eyes and our body language and an energy. I suppose you could have horses your whole life and never see any of that. And maybe it's just an awakening. Maybe it's a place you come in your life where the horses turn the light switch on for you, and you have to be there to see the light. You know, when you're working with a horse doesn't always do what you want him to do. Sometimes the horse violates your space. Sometimes the horse violates your trust. They don't do that because they want to be mean or because they want to be in control. They do that because of fear. We humans respond to other humans the same way. A horse is a big animal, and they're strong, and they have an instinct to survive. They're an animal of prey, and we're a predator. So in order for them to have a relationship with us, they have to develop a trust. And that's probably one of the most difficult things for humans to do. It's really hard to trust somebody with our hearts. And the horses do that.
That's kind of our struggle here on this planet. How do we balance out fear and trust? I hope I never, ever, ever forget how amazing it is that a horse will let me put a halter on their face, or that they'll let me put a saddle on them, that they'll let us put shoes on their feet, and that they will follow me. It's amazing how much horses do trust us. They help teach us how to have that relationship with something outside of yourself, to feel a part of something that's one. Herd to Human business developed over time. There's so many pieces to it. There's the horse piece. There's the private investigative piece that Jeff brings. We work with veterans, trying to figure out how to live through that and be healthy and be happy. There's a lot of people out there that don't really want to ride. The program itself, it's specific groundwork exercises that we've developed over time. And the reason that we chose that in this program is it opens it up to more people. We just make introductions with the horses. We have a certain process in which people choose the horse that they're going to work with. We get to know each other, creating environments where we can feel comfortable sharing with each other. I get up in the morning, I feed horses. I feed them in the evening. I spend a lot of time with the horses. And my choice of sport, endurance riding, I spent a lot of miles on the horse's back. There have been times in my life where they are the only reason I got up in the morning. So for me, the horses have brought me here. The horses have kept Jeff and I together.
If I had to pick the one thing in Darlene and my marriage, may have been the most difficult for me, was mistrust. So there came a period in my life where I had to ask myself, why? Why do I harbor such mistrust when I've never been given a reason to mistrust? I realized that the things that I feared the most were not the physical world, but the emotional world. I probably neglect saying 3 things to Darlene that I should say more often, and that would be, thank you, I forgive you, and I love you. Those are the things that we don't say enough to other people in our relationships. And it's the thing that I want my students to walk away from here with is,
we're all different. The horses are different than us. The ground's different than me. And yet we're all the same.